Real excited about them. Obviously, two guys from here in LA, and Jake and Jaime, who we've been following a long time, that I think really complement each other in the backcourt. From how Jake can really shoot the basketball and moves extremely well on the perimeter and understands reading screens already, and Jaime, just his development of just being, he's got a chance to be an alpha dog. The way he attacks the basket, the way he can score inside and out. He's got good size and athleticism. And then Grant, somebody we've recruited for a long time, Dallas, now Wichita, or Fort Worth rather, Dallas-Fort Worth, and now Wichita, and a point guard that can really do a lot of things. Kind of got a good scoring mindset, can score off the bounce, can shoot it, and can facilitate really well as well. So it's a good start to the class.
How do you go about assessing your needs when technically you don't have anybody leaving?
Well, technically,
that you know of.
Yeah, technically, but I mean, that's going to happen. Right. So we'll figure that out when it happens.
Do you have any other players going to sign late?
I don't think it'll happen here in the early signing. I think it's probably the three we're going to sign here early, but obviously a lot of active recruiting during the winter.
How do you divvy up recruiting with this new coaching staff? You obviously lost one of your recruiters.
As far as how we...
Yeah, I mean, who kind of took over that responsibility?
Well, Dwayne's always been somebody that's been in the forefront because he's been my associate head coach. So we give guys different titles. So Coach Grace used to be a recruiting coordinator. So, and basically what that is just coordinating where we'd like for people to go and people to see. But Dwayne from New Mexico to here has always been the guy that I lean on, and so now he just has taken over that role of coordinating the rest of us of where we go and what games we got to see. But I've never been a coach that you got the East and I got the West and you got the Midwest, and it's always been a collective. Because when we have recruits and we do our recruiting, I want them to see our entire staff and get to meet them and build relationships with all the staff members, not just one particular guy.
After the Long Beach State game, you said with regards to the full court press, it was hard to simulate it in practice because you were battling injury. When do you think you'll get to that point where you're fully ready to go? Is it when Cody Riley comes back?
Well, it's hard. You know, we're waiting on, obviously that helps, and Alex is progressing, but we know Alex is going to be a while, and, you know, hopefully in the next couple of weeks we get Cody back to where that helps, but you just never know day to day, you know, of what happens. But we've really gone into a 2-week mode of just a lot of skill work and a lot of breakdown stuff to where it's not body-on-body contact as much. And I think one of the places that might have hampered us is in the press because we haven't got a lot, and we'll do that in the next couple days. We haven't got a lot of work against pressure, full court. And so that's probably on us as coaches and a decision that we had to make as far as what we get to, what we don't get to early in the season. But here in the next couple days of those practices, we'll work extensively against teams that want to kind of pick us up full court because we know that's going to come, and we want to be able to attack that like we do anything else on the offensive end. If you press us, we want to attack you. If you man us, zone us, whatever, we want to be in attack mode, and that's what we've seen through two games already. We've been the 80s, which it's a lot of possessions in college basketball, so we've had 2 games in a row where we've had a lot of possessions.
Did you get any clarity on Cody's injury as to when he might be back, the timeline, or is it still kind of that?
No, not really a timeline. Just he's progressing very well. That's the positive, is that things are looking very good, and each day he gets to do a little bit more just as far as no contact stuff and just see how he's doing. So right now he's progressing very, very well. So hopefully it's going to be sooner than later because he's somebody that doesn't just help us at the offensive end, he helps us at the defensive end because he's somebody, another big like Jay Hill, where we can switch 5 ways instead of 4.
What's kind of the early scouting report on St. Francis?
Very talented and a scary opponent. Guard play that is very attack-minded. They shoot it well, they drive it well, they put a lot of pressure on your defense because they like to score the basketball. So very similar in really the first 2 games that I think you're going to see a high possession game because PFW, Long Beach, they wanted to play and play up tempo, and I think St. Francis the same way. So it's they had a kid, Blackman, that was sitting, was all conference selection last year that tore, I think, ACL or had a leg injury, and now he's back. So you got some guards that are very potent as far as how they attack off the bounce. They get fouled a lot, they get to the line a lot. And so they're going to put a lot of pressure on our defense. So we've got to do a good job of keeping the ball in front of us. That's going to be a huge key in this game because we're the bigger, taller, more athletic team, and to be able to use that, we got to be able to keep people in front of us.
What have you seen from Moses versus what you thought you were going to get with him?
Well, he's double guy, and he's blocking shots, and he's missed 2 shots on the year, so he's getting to the free throw line, which we thought would happen. His free throw shooting's getting better. I love his motor. They're not a lot of centers, and I don't want to get in the habit of playing him 36 minutes. Especially here early in the season. And I think as Cody would get back in the mix, I think I'll be able to manage his minutes even better. But I got to manage his minutes here in November because there are not a lot of centers playing 36 minutes, and yet in 36 minutes you kind of see what he does. He's just very active, and I think what I've liked in Mo is what we've seen from middle of June when he got here to where he is here middle of November. He's just improved in all areas. His defensive mindset, staying out of foul trouble, knowing running the floor, how important that is to him both offensively and defensively, tries to dunk everything, and we're seeing his post moves, we're seeing his skill development get better. So I just like the whole package, but we kind of saw that back in June, the type of person he was and the sponge that he was. If he just works, he wants to get better, and when you have somebody that wants to work and wants to get better, that happens when you're 7'2". It can happen where people really notice because you can't teach 7'2".
So people pulled out the Lou Alcindor comparison. So what do you think about that?
Well, people always throw out comparisons. I'm not a comparison guy because I think I have too much respect for those that have come before these guys. And these guys are trying to develop a career. They're trying to become a really good player. And to compare that to arguably one of the best ever to play the game, that's unfair. Obviously, there are big guys that grew up in New York City, but from that standpoint, that doesn't mean that Mo can't develop into an outstanding player. But to compare him to Kareem right now is very, very unfair.
Getting back to the press, did you see him tape what gave the team the problem?
Yeah, little things, not running the baseline when we take the ball out, catching it in the coffin corner, inviting traps. It was just something that we hadn't seen yet. So, and that's what happens. We told the guys in film that happens in November. You're going to see some things that we haven't seen in practice because you're going to play against different systems, different styles, different offensive things that teams throw at you, different sets and actions maybe we haven't defended in practice. And that's what November is all about, so that as you grow and mature, you've seen everything. That's the first time we've had a real aggressive trap and press come at us, and obviously we didn't handle it very well. But I think the next time that happens, our guys they'll learn and they'll adjust, and we'll practice it and we'll get better. But we got really deep on the baseline and catches, and the inbounder didn't run the baseline. So it was like we were just zeroing in on one guy to throw it to, and there's 4 other guys that we can throw it to. So a lot of it is just learning spacing. We're a motion team, and our press break is really going from 50 feet to 94 feet. And but to the guys, standing up for the guys, we just have not spent enough time with 94-foot inline-to-inline offense like we need to.
When we talked to you after the Long Beach State game, you talked about your house having to be evacuated, and you weren't sure of the resolution. What was the resolution?
We got back in last night. So, like I said in the press, just incredibly blessed, and can't thank the first responders, the firemen, the police. It's amazing. I've been able to see it firsthand. A lot of times you watch telecast at night and you see it other places, but it hits home when Calabasas was kind of the hub, and so you get to see what they actually have to go through and the amount of time. And the thing I appreciate, they're just the servanthood of that occupation of your occupation is doing things for others, and to me that's an incredible trait to have as a human being. And the things that other people have had to go through a lot worse than what we had to go through. Just being evacuated isn't a big deal when you get to come back to your house. It's an inconvenience, but it's in the long scope, it's not that big a deal. When you got to come back and you don't have a home, that's a whole different thing that you have to deal with. And so it's tough, and I've been able to see that. And But the family's safe, and things. So we're very blessed from that standpoint. Now, just trying to figure out how we can help everybody in the community where they may have had some loss that we didn't have, but just being very, very grateful for those that are on the front lines trying to help everybody.